Kia ora tātou. Ko pūtau ki te maunga, ko ohine mataro te awa, ko mā tātua te waka, ko Ngāti Awa te iwi, ko tai whakaia te marae, ko ngai tai whakaia te hapū, ko au te uri e tuake nei. Ko li Timutimu tōku ingoa, e tipu mai au ki whakatāne, engari tēnei wā, kai kirikiri roa ahau, e noho ana. Nō reira, tēnā koutou katoa. Kia ora everyone, good to be here. I'm just going to get myself set up with my presentation and my notes. It's a real privilege and an honour for me to lead out this event as our first kai kōrero for the very first Te POIPOIA Te Manawa Māui event. And of course, I'm very grateful and humbled. For those that don't know me, my name is Lee Timutimu, and I am a man of many portais, as some of you may have heard. Basically, I worked in tech for the last 20 plus years in both NZ, Aotearoa and Australia. I've worked 13 years working in the Māori Māori storytelling space. And for the past 5 years, I've been running my tech business, of course, which has already been mentioned, Arataki Systems. I also run a number of community-based kaupapa, specifically for Māori, which I'll talk about later in this presentation. Over the next 20 minutes, I do want to take you on a bit of a journey, and I might go wee wah wah, but hopefully I'll try and rein it in and keep things on track. And I want to share some of the mahi that I've been doing over the past decade. But before I do that, whānau, before I get started, I just want to take a moment to do a quick mental health check-in with you all. I think it's really important. 2 years ago, before the first lockdown, I was diagnosed with severe depression. I spent the following 12 months pretty much rebuilding my world. Fast forward to today, life is definitely much better. Got a bit of a pāhau here and a little bit older and grayer, but I'm definitely doing much better. My whānau is happy, and I'm happy too. E te whānau, we are living in incredibly challenging times due to the impacts, of course, of COVID-19. In fact, as yesterday, I literally felt like my whole world was about to fall apart at the seams. Fortunately, it didn't, and I got through it okay, and here I am. But if it's not the pressure and challenges of being a small business owner, which I'm sure many of us would be familiar with, then it's the anxiety and concerns of being a parent, making sure our tamariki don't get sick. So please take the time to consider your mental health and well-being today, if you haven't done that lately. And don't be afraid to ask for help, whānau. If you need someone to talk to, feel free to DM or email me. Kei konei ahau. Ngā mihi aroha kia koutou, kia tātou hoki. All right, moving right along. I mustn't forget the most important portai that I wear. I'm also a proud husband and father. My whānau is very important to me. They are my why, and I love them very much. Okay, so the last decade of my life, I've had the great fortune to choose the pathways that I want to follow, and work on the things that I'm incredibly passionate about. I think self-determination has allowed me to choose the work that I want to do, and not only that, it also has allowed me to pursue kaupapa that resonates with me. Ultimately, this has allowed me to be me, he Māori ahau. Unashamedly Māori, proudly Māori, staunchly Māori, 100% pro-Māori, he Māori ahau. So, with that, let's have a little look at the last decade of my life, eh? So, the last 10 years, or actually 13 plus years of my life, has been dedicated to working on these three kaupapa that you can see here on the screen. Te Reo Hihiri, the yellow logo to the left, Arataki in the middle, and Ko Māui Hāngaro on the right. So, Te Reo Hihiri is a kaupapa that I founded in 2009. It's a collective of Māori storytellers that travel around the motu, delivering storytelling events to our tamariki and rangatahi. So that's pretty much what it's all about. Te Reo Hihiri is on a mission to revive our oral traditions, revitalise our pūrākau, and normalise te reo Māori. I think for me, my light bulb moment in regards to Te Reo Waiata was when my wife and I realized that our stories were passing with many of our kaumātua. My response to that was to form this kaupapa, Te Reo Waiata, a Māori storytelling collective. You can see my Uncle Joe Haruira in the background there. Obviously, that's me in the foreground. And that was taken at our local library in Whakatane, which is both our hometown. So both Joe and I are from Whakatane. And he's also my uncle, by the way, so I'm pretty lucky there. I've got a couple of images that I'm going to shoot through. The reason I love this kaupapa is because I've seen the connection made between storyteller and tamaiti literally hundreds of times through the medium of our storytelling, our mode of storytelling. Our tamariki love storytelling because it is relevant and it connects them to pūrākau about their tūpuna. This is my good mate Scotty Morrison in the picture there. And of course, he's sharing some of his stories or his pūrākau with tamariki in his hometown in Rotorua. So that was a pretty special moment for all of us, actually. In the age of digital devices, tablets, phones, gaming, and social media, there's nothing quite like seeing our kids engage with a masterful storyteller. Just like my mate Tamati Waka here, doing what he does best, which is basically talk. This was taken in the library at Te Whare o Awanui in Whakatane. So there's a couple of cool images here with people that I get to spend my time with under this kaupapa. We've got Shay here, and that's in Ōtautahi at Tūranga Library, one of the most favourite libraries that I love in Aotearoa at the moment. This is our man. This is our man in Ōtautahi as well. Nō rere ahu tēnei tangata. I'm sure you all know him. So basically, I'm incredibly passionate about Māori storytelling and the importance it holds for our future generations in terms of the transfer of knowledge, the continuation of our narratives, and the retention and maintenance of our culture. I think one of the greatest challenges Te Ao Māori currently faces is the gradual and inevitable loss of much of our stories, knowledge, and history with the passing of our kaumātua. So I think it's up to us to play a part in the capture, collation, retention, and more importantly, caretaking of our stories. Throughout the course of my presentation, I want to reconnect with some of the reflections or statements that I made coming into this event, as I think they hold much relevance to my kōrero today. Plus, it also reminds me why I'm speaking here today. So, any opportunity where we can celebrate simply being Māori is an empowering opportunity. I'll leave that thought with you. In 2016, two of my passions converged into one. So with 20 plus years working in tech, and at the time, 7 years working on Te Reo Waiata, the storytelling kaupapa, naturally I combined these two passions together and rolled them into one mean as kaupapa. And what did it end up looking like? Arataki Systems. So this is how Arataki Systems came to be. Arataki was the convergence of my passion for storytelling and tech, and came out of my growing frustration with working for non-Māori corporates who more often than not maintain values that did not align with my personal values or my cultural values for that matter. I worked in that corporate world for over 15 years, and by 2016, I was completely over it. At that point, I realized that I could either continue putting my time and energy into other people's business aspirations and outcomes, or I could go off and do my own thing and sink all of my time and energy into my own business aspirations. So that's pretty much how Arataki came to be. Just wanted to introduce you to my whānau. So we are the three owners of Arataki. To the left, you've got Clayton Lowe, our first cousin. To the right of me, you've got my younger brother, Denham Harawira, who took my mum's maiden name. And we are the owners of Arataki. So our business is a Māori-owned, whānau-owned company, and we build end-to-end technology solutions. We've also started moving into more of an Indigenous tech advisory role. So more and more our mahi is getting into that space, which is pretty cool to be in. Founded in 2016, we're a tech company based in the Waikato and Bay of Plenty regions. We're wholly owned and run by Māori tech entrepreneurs. We have career backgrounds in Māori storytelling, tech, and iwi relations. Together, the three of us, we've got about 30 plus years of collective IT experience. One final thing I wanted to mention about Arataki is that 100% of our kaimahi are Māori, and that's something that I'm very, very proud to share. I just wanted to go through a couple of images. And these images pretty much capture some of the cool mahi that I've been able to do, or that we've been able to do over the past 5 years. So this is myself and Joe in our ancestral whare, Mātātua in Whakatane. One of the most coolest and most amazing days of my life was taking this photo with my uncle in our ancestral whare. There you go, awesome. Couldn't think of anything cooler to do in my hometown. This is myself and my friend Ian Musson. We're attending an Indigenous Innovation incubator in Hawaii. That was back in 2019. Obviously, we were deconstructing Indigenous innovation. Amazing kōrero. This next one here, sharing our Arataki Cultural Trails app with some of the Asia Foundation young leaders at Mawao and Mount Maunganui. This is a cool one. This is our mates, Clyde Rigney Jr., first Australians of the Ngarinjeri mob in South Australia. He's introducing us to his maunga on his lands, on his whenua, in a place called Murray Bridge in South Australia, not far from Adelaide. This is us doing some digital marae literacy delivery last year with our marae and marae trustees around the motu. Before I go into the slide here, I did want to stress that although we are a tech company, I know my times are going, and we use tech to retell our stories through our Arataki Cultural Trails app. Technology is simply the enabler, and I've always held that belief. Ko te mea nui, ko a tātou pūrākau, koina. So there's nothing more important than what we have up here and what we hold in here. Technology just is the vehicle, if you like. And it's not actually the technology or the tech that is our point of difference, our business. The thing that makes us different is our Māoriness, our Indigenous worldview, and the fact that we come from a long line of amazing storytellers, and obviously makes us really good at doing the mahi that we do in the digital cultural storytelling space. I did want to segue into this piece of mahi that we did last year before I go into the third kaupapa. So we partner with Meta, formerly the Facebook group, and we led the development of an AR digital experience for the Apex Summit 2021. You can Google search it, you can find it on the internet, and if you want to have a bit of a tutu with it, go for it. The reason why they engaged with us is because they knew we were Māori, they had heard of our work in the digital cultural storytelling space here in Aotearoa. So the Ngā Atua Māori AR digital experience was a very successful campaign, and I'm really glad to put our tohu to that body of work. And you know what? As a result of that partnership, we are now on a journey to become one of the first Indigenous navigators into the metaverse. I'll let that sit for you a little while. Nō reira, watch the space whānau. All right, the third and final kaupapa that I wanted to touch on before I finish is this one here. So, ko Māui hāngaro. If I can take your minds back to 2018, myself and my good friend and whanaunga Awhina Ngātuere were asked by the Groundswell Innovation Festival in Tauranga to come up with a tech event for Māori. And so ko Māui hāngaro was born as a check the brown box event. Oh, go figure that, eh? All right, so KMH or Ko Māui Hangarau is a summit that aims to inspire rangatahi Māori into pathways in tech, innovation, and entrepreneurship. That first event back in 2018 was hugely successful, much to our surprise, and it definitely surpassed our expectations. It was a pivotal moment for us, though, when we realized that it is so incredibly important that our rangatahi, to see themselves in Māori tech entrepreneurs that we invited to speak that day. It was an amazing and mind-blowing moment, and I'll never, ever forget that day. It was a pretty awesome day, and some of you were actually at that event. KMH has gone from strength to strength over the past 3 years, and we've secured further funding from the Ministry of Education to deliver another 6 events in 6 different locations around the motu. We're just planning and preparing for that events program now. So just a couple of images that I wanted to chuck up on the screen so you can sort of get a feel for what Ko Māui Hangarau is all about. Some of my hoai there, some pretty amazing role models right there. This was in Tūranga, that's Hine Rangi in the middle. We've got Phil Kupinga on the left of her, and we've got cousin Bailey Mackey on the right of her, and we've got Martai Smith as the MC. So, yeah, and look at the turnout. It was amazing. I think we had 200, 250 kids that turned up that day. Just wanted to finish on this image because I think it's a pretty awesome message from my mate, from my brother Clayton. Embrace the hautatu. And this slide and Clayton's presentation behind him, I think perfectly encapsulates what it's like to be a Māori in tech. We embrace the hautatu. It's also really important that we expose our kids to successful Māori tech entrepreneurs like myself and like Clayton, because it allows them to see themselves in these awesome role models. If I can see success, I can be that success. If you didn't already know, currently there is 4.8% Māori representation in the tech sector, and I'm sure you'll agree that it is woefully underrepresented. Ultimately, with our mahi under the KMH kaupapa, we're trying to do what we can to increase the number of Māori in the tech sector. POIPOIA te Manawa Māui deeply resonates with me because it allows me the space and time to simply be me. But wait, there's actually more. I'm just going to quickly go over these ones, eh? I know I've got a couple of minutes left. So I'm also involved in these 2 kaupapa here, Tumu Labs and Te Rau. Basically, Tumu Labs is a business that I co-founded with my good friends and these 2 wahine toa here, Amber Craig and Hiria Te Rangi. And the purpose of the business is to provide training and strategic planning around this thing we call Māori data sovereignty, because it's so very important to all 3 of us. Between us, we've got 60 plus years of collective IT experience, so it's a pretty mean powerhouse, and I'm really proud to be a part of it. The second thing I want to mention is the Māori Tech Association. So Te Matarau I founded a couple of months ago, and some of you on the school are also members of this association. We've just started out. We're at 190 members currently, so it's growing. But essentially, I founded Te Matarau to coordinate and collectivize our individual efforts as Māori tech practitioners in the Māori tech community. So watch the space. Watch for it. It'll grow and we'll develop it over time. And so it's something that I'm involved in also. This is the final reflection that I have to share. POIPOIA te Manawa Māui is about self-expression and celebrating our indigeneity. And I know I've got time to do a couple of these whakatauki. To finish up my kōrero, I wanted to share a couple of whakatauki that I think have relevance. Here's one from our Kazi Taika Waititi. We are the original storytellers. Here's another one from my brother Potawa Biasni Tule, one of our OG tech Māori entrepreneurs. Innovation, it's in our DNA, it's in our bones. Very powerful words. And whānau, I'm pretty much on the home straight here. Hei kōrero whakamutunga, if you were to ask me what is my superpower, ko taku whakatū ki a koutou, he Māori ahau. I am Māori, being Māori is my superpower, and I know there's going to be a lot of kōrero about this very statement later today. There goes my bell. And of course, it stands to reason that whatever I can do, you can do better. Why? Nā te mea he Māori koe. So together, e hoa mā, let's create a better future for our tamariki mokopuna rangatahi. Let's create and nurture support systems for our rangatahi entering the public services sector, or indeed any sector that they might choose to enter, like tech, for example. Let's encourage our rangatahi to be agents for change and allow them to effect systemic disruption from within the system. Let's always remind our rangatahi that they descend from greatness and therefore possess the attributes and skills of their tupuna. And finally, let us all remember we are the original storytellers, and innovation, it's in our bones. With these innate skills in our kete, I truly believe we can influence and effect the change that we want to see in this world. He aha ai, nā te mea, he Māori tātou. In closing, I want to mihi to Te Rau Hihiri for organising this impactful and aspirational event. Thank you to our upcoming speakers and panelists, many of whom I consider to be my role models. And finally, thanks to our MCs and facilitators. Ngā mihi nui kia koutou, mō reira e hoi aku raurangatira mā, tēnā koutou, a tēnā tātou katoa. Ka hauri, I think I went about 1 minute over time. Kia ora.
Kei te pai, hoa tēnā rau atu koe e te whanaunga o Ngāti Te Rangi Tūhoe, me o nui me o rahi. I thought I'd just, quickly share my whakaaro and your kōrero, because I think you touched on a lot of things that I hope to step into myself, and I think we both share a deep passion for storytelling, and I guess a kupu that you used to describe your craft and storytelling is that caretaker, āhuatanga, and I don't think I've actually used myself, described myself in that way, and so you've definitely given many of us a lot to think about, and I think embracing the hautatu is probably one of our greatest superpowers that we've inherited from our tupuna or from Maui, and yeah. So tēnā ratu koe me o kōrero, and just like this is a teaser hui, I think you touched on a lot of appetizers that you're involved in with the deconstructing Indigenous innovation, as well as the first Indigenous navigators in the metaverse, which I'm very excited about. Hoi anō, I see we have some pātai that we hope that you can answer in the next 30 seconds or so. And my screen just seems to be the tiniest of screens of them all. But the pātai is, what are your thoughts on the public service using storytelling in their mahi? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think because we're innate storytellers and it's in our whakapapa and it's in our DNA, it's in our bones, I think it's a very powerful method for delivering and communicating and messaging. So whether that be within public services sector, which is an important place to convey our communications and messaging from a Māori perspective, from Te Ao Māori, then I think our ability to craft the story becomes really, really important, and that's why we're so good at facilitating conversations and kōrero and hui, because we are the original storytellers. We are very powerful storytellers, and we have it innately in our whakapapa. So I think for reasons of communicating and messaging, whatever it is we're trying to convey to a group within the public services sector in particular, and also expressing our Māoriness as well is really important, So when let's say we're considering co-designing some process or system from inside of a public services organisation, then it's really important for us to be able to to be a part of that conversation, to be at the table. And I must say that I do give props to our people that are working within public services, also corporate, because you're doing some amazing work from inside of those organisations, and you play a critical and important role in affecting change at the tepu.
Yeah, tika e rā kōrero, bro. And I think you know, and it kind of leads into this next part around, you know, how do we maintain that balance? And your last partai for today is how do we maintain kawa and tikanga in the metaverse? Because I guess, you know, you really want to push it into those innovative spaces, but do you have to cross a line, or how whakaro?
Oh, very good question. And it's a very new realm, isn't it? It's almost like we're navigating into unknown waters, much like our ancestors did when they left Hawaii to come to Aotearoa, New Zealand. Eh? So we're on the same journey. We're at the beginning or the precipice of something that's new. It's another virtual realm that is unknown, but I think much the same as we maintain our kawa and tikanga in any environment, whether that be corporate, whether that be public sector organisations, or even that be within the Māori data sovereignty conversation or technology even. These are very important concepts or aspects of who we are as Māori. So it's really important for us to have those conversations, have those hui, and to connect with each other so that we're sharing this mātauranga as we're growing or navigating into this new realm called the metaverse. I actually I don't have an answer for that right now, but it's very exciting to be at the precipice or at the start of this journey where we can become one of the first Indigenous, I guess, global tech partners that are navigating into this very new realm we call the metaverse. But yeah, much the same as we maintain kawa and tikanga on the marae, that comes through kōrero, hui, wānanga.
Ka pai, kōrero, hui, wānanga, e te iwi. That is Lee Timutimu, the digital kupe, I think. I think you might be able to give you a new nickname, e hoa. But thank you so much for ka pai. Thank you for joining us today, e hoa. And te tēnā rautu koe mō o kōrero.